A loud buzzing screech startled Jonathan awake. He whirled around wildly in his bed, bewildered by his surroundings. The buzzing continued as the alarm stone on the nightstand flashed blue symbols. He reached for the stone and grabbed it. At his touch, the sound stopped. The blue symbols continued to flash over the stone. Still feeling out of place, he grabbed the orb on the table. Groggily, he stared at it. As he concentrated, the chandelier was lit by a blue flame. The window filtered a bright blue light into the room. He sat on the edge of his bed and rubbed his eyes. With a sigh, he got up and went into the bathroom and prepared himself for the morning. The bathroom looked average, though to turn on the water he found another stone fixed in the wall. When he touched it and concentrated, it turned on. So everything uses brain power, huh? I guess I better prepare some clothes first. He went and found the outfit from the day before. The shirt had a brown stripe that went from the left shoulder down diagonally, then back around, making a ring. It separated red on the upper half and green on the lower. His pants were brown with matching pairs of brown boots and brown socks. He took a shower, then tried on his new clothes. They fit surprisingly well. Better get to Duran's house quick. I'm sure he's expecting me by now. Duran was indeed waiting for him when he arrived. He patiently stood outside his house. "Good morning," he called out. "Morning. Ready for your first lesson?" "Yes and no." Duran chuckled. "Nervous? Good. You will be more alert and focused. It will be a better learning experience. Follow me and we will begin." Duran walked away towards the forest, Jonathan following behind. "Where exactly are we going?" "A quiet place in the forest. It is where I practice." Not far into the forest, a wide open space could be seen. The earth was charred and churned. Weathered targets were set up in a row. The paint that once adorned them was peeling and scorched. A small pyramid of stones sat in the middle of the field. A barrel sat nearby filled with water. The Tiophianiar led Jonathan to them. "The first magics all Tiophianiar learn is elemental magic. Before we begin, I will assess what category you fall under. I have told you of joy and fury magics. There is a third category we call neutral. This is a balance between the other two. This encompasses all 5 elements. If you can bring yourself to a calm state of mind, then you can have control of multiple elements at a time, allowing for combinations. Joy and fury magics will not be as powerful, but it leaves room for many opportunities." 5 elements? Aren't there only 4? Duran nodded his head. "By the standard the Greeks set, there are only considered to be 4, but we consider there to be a 5th. The neutral element, and hardest to harness, lightning." Saying this, he faced the targets. He placed his left foot forward, tucking his left arm against his chest. Then he took his right arm and lifted it straight up into the air. His eyes glowed blue as a ball of electricity sparked on the end of his fist. He drew his fist down and brought his arm into position, locked back as if ready to throw a punch. Then he jabbed forward, twisting his upper body but keeping his feet planted. As his fist came to a stop, a bolt of lightning streaked away from it. The bolt struck one of the targets, making the wooden surface shudder. An earth bulwark kept the target firmly in place. The surface sizzled, the bolt leaving a black smudge. Jonathan looked in awe and shock. The bolt had been loud, causing his ears to ring. He had not been prepared for the loud noise, but was amazed by the power that had just been displayed. Duran looked back and grimaced. "My apologies. I forgot to give you a protection ward first." Jonathan brushed it off. "That was amazing." "It is a truly awesome feeling. Now we must test you, but let me give you your ward first." He produced a medallion from a sack on the ground. "There should be a small disc-shaped pocket on your left breast. Put it there." Jonathan found the pocket and placed it inside. "Now whenever there is a sound that would damage your ears, it will diminish the sound to a safe level. Now let's test you. We will start with water. Come try to move the water in the barrel." Stretch your hand over it and imagine the water sloshing back and forth. Jonathan did as he was instructed. He stretched his hand over the barrel and focused on the water, imagining it moving back and forth. He sat there for a minute, concentrating. A tiny ripple appeared on the surface, but little else happened. He let out a frustrated sigh. "That is a good start," Duran said. Jonathan gave him a bewildered look. "Good? Nothing happened." "Incorrect. I expected nothing to happen. You did little more than think of what end you wanted to achieve and caused a ripple in the surface. Most cannot do that on their first try." "And how am I supposed to be able to move water like a sack in those women washing clothes?" "Let me answer a question with a question. Can you catch a fish with your bare hands?" Jonathan looked confused. "No." "It would be difficult, but possible," the chauffeur corrected. "Now say I taught you the right technique to catch a fish barehanded. Could you do it then?" "I guess so." "Would it be easy?" "No." "Now say I gave you a net, taught you the proper techniques, and you practiced for a year. Could you do it then?" "Definitely." "Think of magic like catching that fish. It is possible to catch a fish with your bare hands, but difficult and inefficient, like using only your mind to move that water. However, if I can give you the tools and techniques you need, and you practice them all the time, you will catch fish by the hundreds. Now try this. Focus your mind on the water moving back and forth, but as you do it, take your dominant hand and push and pull in the direction you want the water to go." Jonathan turned to the barrel and took a deep breath. He took his hand palm outward and placed it over the barrel. He focused his mind, imagining pushing and pulling the water as he made the motions with his hand. After a few seconds, the water began to slosh back and forth in the barrel. "Well done. Now I want you to think of something that makes you happy. It can be anything, like your favorite food or a loved one." Jonathan thought for a second. Then he stretched out his hand and began to focus again. As he did, his vision turned a shade of green. The barrel rocked back and forth. A smile was on Jonathan's face, but then his eyes went from a bright, vivid green to a dark, mossy color. The barrel tipped away from him and fell over, spilling all over the ground. The light faded from his eyes as he realized what happened. "Sorry, I didn't mean to knock it over." "It is fine," Duran responded. Duran's eyes glowed blue as he took a hand and slowly lifted it. Following the motion, the earth underneath the barrel lifted up. As the earth rose, it righted the barrel. Then he swirled his hand and the water in the wet earth began to rise until the earth underneath was bone dry again. The chauffeur guided the water back into the barrel. "You found a strong, happy emotion, but I took note that the memory brought you pain as well. Would you like to talk about it?" A bitter smile was on Jonathan's face. "I was remembering fishing with my dad. My parents died in a car wreck a year ago. I stayed with some friends until a flight could be organized from the U.S. to Norway so I could move in with my uncle. Sorry to hear that. A bitter, sweet memory indeed, but a strong one. It is good to see you coping so well with their passing. Some hold on to their sorrow and push everyone away. It seems to have sobered your outlook on life as well, making you more mature for your age. You may learn faster than anticipated. Let us try some fury magic. I want you to try to move a rock from the pile over there. Reach your hand out and focus on a rock. Then move your hand as if you are picking up the rock." Jonathan walked closer to the pile and stretched his hand, palm down to waist height. As he concentrated, he curled his fingers and slowly lifted his hand. The stone at the top of the pyramid began to shudder. After a few more moments, Jonathan let out a breath and the stone stopped moving. "Now I want you to focus on feelings of anger. It helps to focus on something that makes you truly angry, but eventually you will learn to channel the emotions, like selecting a book off of a shelf. For now, I want you to think of what makes you angry, then try again." Again, Jonathan thought for a second. A look of annoyance came over his face as he stretched out his hand again. This time the stone lifted an inch from the pile. After a few moments he let it drop. It clacked and rolled off the pile. Well done. Now I will test you in neutral magics. It is more difficult, and I expect you to fail. Do not take it to heart if you cannot manage it. Jonathan shook his head as he prepared himself. In this test, I want you to try to combine the other two elements. I will teach you the techniques, but this time I want you to imagine a feeling of calm and peace. Like the feelings when the day's troubles and trials have ended. Or the feeling you get in a somber forest as a wind stirs the branches of the trees. Jonathan nodded his head as he listened. Dern cocked his arm at a 90-degree angle, hand pointing up, then stretched his arm upward. As he did so, a pointed pillar of earth rose from the ground. He took off his coat and placed it on top of the pillar. In this next test, I will see how you control air. You know that all around us, particles so small that we cannot see them float about us, right? Jonathan nodded. We learned about it in school. Good, Dern said. Now I want you to feel the particles flowing around you. Like you did with the water, I want you to move your hand back and forth as if you are pushing and pulling the air around this coat. While you do so, I want you to stay in a calm state of mind. Jonathan tried as he was asked. He tried to calm his mind as he made the motion. The coat stood firm on its post. After a few more seconds he let out a sigh and stopped. Okay, let us try the last element for the day, fire. As he said the words, he placed his fist over his chest, then drew it down diagonally. As he did, a ball of flame seemed to burst from his fist, hovering just above it. He stretched out his hand, and the ball rotated above his palm. The mana fuels the flame, so remember not to hold on to it for too long in a hostile situation. A flash of concern came over Jonathan's face. Hostile situations? As Tiophianiar, you may be involved in my work as protector. You will accompany me on my rounds from time to time. I respond to calls for help in many situations, and make sure that the protective barrier is being properly maintained. Though it has been many years since anything happened of major concern. The most pressing concern at the moment may be wolves trying to interfere with some of our herd animals. You will have plenty of time to hone your skills before anything pressing happens. By then, you should be able to defend yourself. Now, I want you to try and make a fireball. Bring back that feeling of peace and calm. Then I want you to take your fist and place it over your chest. Draw your fist diagonally down your body until it comes to rest by your hip. As you do this, imagine drawing flame from within your body. Jonathan took a deep breath and slowly drew his fist across his body while trying to retain a feeling of peace. Nothing happened. He tried 3 more times with no success. He let vent to a sigh of frustration and was startled by the flash of flame. It seems your mind is too unfocused for any neutral magics. No matter. We will work on that soon enough. For now, I want to show you the tools you will be working with. The Tiophianiar reached down into a sack and withdrew a piece of bamboo. It was 18 inches in length and 3 inches in diameter. It was completely hollow on the inside. You would call this a wand. It is a tool we use to channel air spells. The air passing through the center causes a funneling effect. Try it on my jacket again. Hold it with most of its length jutting forward. Then use it like you might to throw a spear, but at the end of the trajectory, flick your hand at the target, focusing on the desired effect. Place your non-dominant foot forward and keep your feet planted throughout the action. Jonathan placed his feet, facing the target. He took a deep breath and focused. His eyes glowed green as he swung his arm into motion. He flicked his hand forward at the last moment, and the wand flung backward, smacking him in the face. At the same time, the jacket waved wildly on the earthen spike. Ow! Jonathan recoiled with pain and shock. What happened? Recoil. It happens with magic the same as it does with firearms. I will have a glove made for you to practice with. A small trickle of blood ran down Jonathan's face. Oh, hold still a moment. Darren's eyes lit up as he placed a hand on Jonathan's head. A tingle ran across his body as the cut on his nose disappeared. His teacher then took out a handkerchief and cleaned the trickle of blood away. Once again, Jonathan looked up in bewilderment. I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this point. Darren shrugged. Perhaps not. Now, on to the other items. The next item was a pendant with the alchemical symbol for water carved on a blue stone. This will enhance your water spells so long as you have it on you. He went back to the bag, drawing out a cuff with a red stone embedded in it. It had the symbol of fire on it. Fire enhancement. Another cuff was produced with a polished river stone. Earth. Then a ring was produced with another blue stone, darker in shade with a white lightning symbol. Lightning. All of these will aid you in the use of these spells, but there is still more. The Tiophianiar drew the last item from the bag, a wooden sword. Just in case you run out of mana during combat, you will still need a way to fight. Your uncle has given us a family relic as a weapon. We are refurbishing it and enhancing it, so in the meantime... Darren drew another practice sword from the bag. We train.